Today, we're breaking down a single, devastating military strike that just pushed the entire Middle East right to the edge of an all-out war. Let's get right into what just happened.
So, let's set the scene. The date is February 28, 2026. And what has been a decades-long shadow war has, well, it's just exploded into open, direct, and incredibly destructive conflict.
And this quote right here from a senior Israeli official, it really cuts to the heart of everything. You see, the target wasn't just some military base or weapons depot. No, the target was the very top of Iran's leadership, the supreme leader himself, Ali Khamenei.
So, you have to be asking, how on earth did we get here? How did we go from a Cold War to a hot one? Well, this didn't happen overnight. It's the result of a huge strategic shift, moving away from years of containment to a policy of direct head-on confrontation.
You can really trace it all back to that Hamas attack in October 2023. That was the moment Israel's policy really shifted towards a much more proactive, offensive stance. Things then escalated big time in June 2025. A 12-day air war completely broke the long-standing taboo of direct strikes on Iranian soil. And that leads us straight to today's decapitation strike.
All right, let's talk about the operation itself. Israel called it Lion's Roar, and its goal was crystal clear: to completely paralyze the Iranian regime's ability to command and control its forces.
And the scale of this thing, wow, it was simply massive. We're talking about the largest flyover in the entire history of the Israeli Air Force. Over 200 fighter jets, all supported by a huge array of U.S. air, land, and sea power.
But this wasn't just about overwhelming force. The targeting was incredibly surgical. The strikes were designed to hit 4 key pillars at once: take out the political leadership to dismantle their ability to govern, hit nuclear facilities to stop their nuclear ambitions cold, neutralize air defenses so they couldn't fight back, and paralyze their military command.
Now, it's really important to understand, this was a fully joint campaign. While Israel was running Lion's Roar, the U.S. Central Command had its own mission, codenamed Epic Fury. They were 2 parts of one coordinated strategic whole.
The sheer breadth of this campaign is just staggering. Sources are reporting nearly 360 separate attacks across 27 of Iran's 31 provinces. This shows you the intent here wasn't just to make a point with a few isolated strikes. It was to inflict systemic, nationwide damage. And all of this leaves us with a massive, unanswered question. On one side, you have Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu saying there are growing signs that Khamenei is gone. On the other, Iranian state media is insisting he's safe and in good health. A brutal information war is now raging right at the heart of this conflict. So of course, Iran wasn't going to take this lying down. The response was immediate. They launched a counteroffensive called Operation True Promise 4, and it was designed to be widespread and to prove that Iran could still project power no matter what.
I mean, literally within hours, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps unleashed a massive first wave. We're talking over 220 ballistic missiles and drones, and they weren't just targeting Israel. They were aimed at American military bases all across the Gulf region.
Iran's strategy here was pretty clear: escalate this thing regionally. By hitting U.S. assets in Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, and Kuwait, they were sending a message. They wanted to punish America's partners in the region and try to crack that international coalition that's lined up against them.
And just like with Khamenei's fate, we're seeing 2 completely different stories about how effective this retaliation was. Iran's IRGC is boasting that it completely destroyed a key U.S. radar system in Qatar. Meanwhile, the U.S. military is reporting only minimal damage and, crucially, no American casualties.
Okay, so this crisis didn't just set the Middle East on fire. It instantly fractured the entire international community. The diplomatic reactions from world powers were swift, and they were sharply divided. So on one side, you had countries like Russia and China, and organizations like the UN condemning the strikes. They called it a pre-planned and unprovoked act, and a dangerous violation of international law, demanding an immediate stop to all of it.
But on the other side, you had key U.S. allies like Canada and Australia offering their full support, basically saying the strikes were necessary to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. And check out the really careful position from the big European powers, France, Germany, and the UK. They condemned Iran's retaliation, but they were conspicuously silent about the initial U.S.-Israeli attack that started it all.
But maybe the most critical consequence of this entire event is what's happening inside Iran.
The attack on the supreme leader has thrown the country into an unprecedented succession crisis, and it raises the ultimate question: who is going to rule Iran now?
Think about it. With the leader's status totally unknown, the entire structure of the Islamic Republic is now facing its most severe test since the revolution back in 1979. The official process for choosing a successor is under almost unbearable pressure.
Now, on paper, there's a clear constitutional path. A temporary council is supposed to take over. Then, this 88-member group called the Assembly of Experts has to meet right away to vote on a new, permanent leader. But a process on paper is one thing. A process under fire, that's something else entirely.
And these are the names that everyone is talking about. These are the main contenders. You've got everyone from Khamenei's own son, Mojtaba, who's got really deep ties to the powerful IRGC, to more pragmatic figures like the former Chief Justice, Sadiq Larijani, and even the grandson of the revolution's founder, Hassan Khamenei, who leans more reformist.
So after all that, where does it leave the actual military balance of power? Well, according to intelligence estimates, Iran's missile arsenal has been hit hard, really hard. Between the missiles they launched and the ones that were destroyed on the ground, they've lost about half their entire stockpile. But, and this is a big but, they are by no means disarmed.
And this, right here, is probably the most critical takeaway from this entire thing. You can bomb buildings, you can destroy missiles, but you cannot bomb knowledge. The International Atomic Energy Agency has warned everyone that Iran still has the scientists, the engineers, the know-how to start enriching uranium again in just a matter of months.
Which leaves us all with the ultimate, deeply unsettling question. Did this unprecedented military strike actually prevent a nuclear Iran by destroying its infrastructure? Or has it just guaranteed one, by convincing whatever new, hardline leadership comes next that a nuclear bomb is the only real way to be secure?